Hey athletes, I'm Adam.
And I'm Lindsay, and this is Burpee
Burpee
Nation.
Nation. Oh. Should we do it again?
No, good enough.
Welcome back to Burpee Nation. Thanks again for joining us for our third episode, I guess.
Third episode.
Even though, every episode's different, so you don't have to necessarily, listen in order or whatever. It's about something new every time. And this time, it's our first guest. Our good friend Eric Lau is joining us today. Eric, thanks for jumping on with us.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Met, what did we meet, 2 years ago, maybe? Something like that? Pre-COVID?
Yeah.
I mean, we talked on Instagram
New
before.
Jersey.
Yeah. We talked on Instagram. Finally, met. I mean, OCR is kind of cool because it's like a community that you follow. So, I mean, how many people do you know on Instagram that you talk to but have never met?
Right. That's what I love about it is the community. Especially when there was pre-COVID and we were all traveling to all our races all around. That was one of the best parts. Is you get to communicate and message people, comment on each other, and then you meet them in person. So that's really cool. That's how we met.
Yeah, I think I remember warming up or something, and I bumped into you. Then we just hung out the rest of the day.
I was like, "Oh, who's your friend? Mm-hmm. How do you know him?" And you were like, "Oh, we follow each other on Instagram."
Right.
I was like, "Hey."
I mean, that's cool about OCR. You're right, because you always see these people post shit, and then you get to a race, and you're like, "Hey, I know you."
Yeah.
And for the most part, everybody's cool. I'm sure you run into unfriendly people every once in a while, like everywhere else. But
yeah. But Eric being in the Northeast with us, we run a few races, grab some food afterwards. So it's a good time.
Eric's going to talk to us about a couple local races he did. Because, I mean, as far as major races go, what's the closest one to you? Maybe Boston, the one Spartan just postponed?
Yeah. Pretty much all the major brands that come around, they'll use Boston or, maybe 20, 30 minutes outside of Boston. Tough Mudder comes around, but there's a disclaimer on their site too that the Boston Tough Mudder may be moved to I think either Maine or New Hampshire.
Oh wow!
So I wouldn't sign up for that just yet, but all the big ones like Spartan, Boston just got postponed, but that's probably going to turn into a cancellation. I can't imagine that one sticking around.
Yeah, I mean, kind of sucks. We're kind of just along for the ride. I'm hoping Palmerton happens this year. We'll see. If they're canceling stuff in May, we'll probably hear more in, I don't know, late May, early June or something like that. It probably takes them a couple months to plan stuff. So, but luckily, the nice thing is these smaller races, even Savage, they're right at that limit where they're small enough to kind of be able to actually have a race. So, the smaller local ones by you, let's talk about F.I.T Challenge first, because they do a few races a year, right?
Right. They do two OCRs, one in February, one in November, and then they have a few trail races throughout the year as well. So the first event of the year was a trail race, and then 3 weeks later, which is this weekend, will be their first OCR of the year.
Oh, cool. And you did the trail race, right?
Yes.
How was that?
I did that was fun. There was an ultra option, multi-lap, 3 mile and a 5 mile. I did both the 5 and the 3 back to back.
Oh, cool.
Maybe 20 minutes rest in between. They did a pretty good job though. It was pretty much, start when you can. So each event had its own time where you had to start or start by, and you just show up, get your timing chip, and you just kind of go, which worked out well. There was never any crowding. Everybody was pretty respectful. That was a good one. It was a little bit chilly in the morning. Definitely, it was 3 weeks ago, early February in New England. Very cold, but. But it was good. It was good. It was also in Cumberland, not on their OCR course though. It's maybe 10 minutes down the road in the opposite direction. It starts off in a park. I want to say it's the monastery, or something like that.
Cool.
So a lot of cross country races take place there too.
Of the two, which one's the hillier course?
Oh, definitely the OCR.
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah. Oh, definitely.
I was going to ask, since it started in a park, how did the terrain change from start to finish?
Mostly flat in the beginning.
Okay.
I think maybe around mile 2, there was a little bit of a incline. If you've done a lot of like Spartan races or whatnot, it probably wasn't anything too strenuous for you. But if you're just someone who kind of just, beginner or go for a walk, it might have made you catch your breath. I can say maybe if I was doing the multi-lap and I had to do that 5 miles over and over and over again, then maybe, that would get to me. But just doing it the 2 times, it wasn't too bad. It was a really good course for all levels of fitness.
Okay. How was the trail? Was it like single track? Was it pretty wide and groomed, or was it like, because Spartan races, like, they're like, oh, trail race, but literally you're not on a trail. You're just going through the woods following the tape that they put up. Like, there's no actual
crossing
trail.
Streams, all of that.
Like, that's more like bushwhacking, I guess.
Right. Yeah. From what I recall, the majority of the trail was it's more like a wide path, I guess you could say.
Cool.
Parts that ran across like an open field, so there was plenty of room to pass. So it definitely wasn't like a single track or you're stuck behind somebody waiting for a good opportunity to pass. Definitely had room.
Okay, cool. Sorry if you can hear the train in the background. It's pretty loud. Can you hear it?
I can.
Okay.
I can.
Thank goodness. This microphone picks up a lot, and I can hear it in my headphones, so it might come across the podcast. But we live 3 blocks from a train track, so.
Yep.
Yeah, and maybe timing wise, we could have waited till next week to talk to you, because then you would have done the obstacle course race too. But you've done it already, right? You said.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure it's going to be the same course. I think they might be adding 2 more obstacles from what I've read. I think it's like the hanging wall coming back, and double ups is coming out.
Double ups.
Yeah, I think it's basic. They had that at BoldrDash too. So it's basically like it's not a wall. It's more like a pole, I guess you could say. So you climb up there, muscle up onto it, and then there's another one above you, maybe another 3 feet. So you got to go over. So you got to do it twice, basically, and then go down.
Okay. That's kind of cool. I'm trying to think. Is this one a band over burpee kind of thing, like mandatory obstacle completion?
Yeah, so if you're going to run in the competitive heat, they only have the elite. There's no age group or anything. It's just elite or open.
Yeah.
And it's one of those mandatory completion events. And the elite version of the obstacles is always harder, from what I've observed.
Do you ever do back when they had Battle Frog? Did you ever try one of those?
I did not.
Because they had like a 3-lane system. I don't know if you remember you were reading about. They had like an elite, a beginner, and then somewhere in the middle, like intermediate or something like that. And elites had to do like the hardest of ever. It was kind of interesting. I thought more places should do it, but
yeah, that's basically what they do. So there's the obstacles, the majority, obviously, except for like the walls or carbonate. That's just it is what it is.
Beginners get to go under it.
Yeah, so it's always the left side is the harder version.
Okay.
And the elites have to go that way, or at least the elite men. I don't know about the elite beginners.
Okay. What's the hardest obstacle in your opinion?
From there, the Destroyer is a good one. It's the second to last obstacle course, so you're pretty spent. It's kind of like a devil's ladder.
Okay.
But they swing as you're going up.
Oh, I see. It's like those floating monkey bar thing, like where you have to take the pegs with you at each thing.
Well, not for the Destroyer. The Destroyer, it's basically, instead of just a stationary wooden ladder, it swings.
Oh.
So as you're trying to move, it's moving on you. And
sorry, I'm looking at Gibbons. Gibbons is what I guess is what I was looking at.
Yeah, that's the floating monkey bars. That will be there too. That's a fun one.
Yeah, I'm trying to find. What'd you say it was called?
Destroyer.
I found double ups.
Oh, Devil's Playground. Devil's Playground. Look at that one.
Devil's Playground.
Oh, here it is. Yeah, that looks fun.
Oh yeah, the Destroyer is like kind of like that, the inverted wall that we.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Devil's Playground is like so that moves. The Devil's Playground. It's like a. I mean, you can go on their website if you're listening and don't know what it is, but it's got like, I don't even know how to describe it. It's got like a wooden board at the bottom, and then it's all metal from there up, right?
Yeah, and it's basically an ascending ladder, and you can only use your arms. Once your feet have to leave the ground, and that's it. So it's all upper body.
So you're on the inside of that.
Going up on the inside and then going down on the inside.
Okay, I see.
Right,
So it's almost like you're
over.
going up the bottom of a staircase, like an open staircase.
Yep, that swings on you.
Look,
That also swings. Okay. Yeah, there's if you Google it, Fit Challenge Devil's Playground, there's some good pictures of it.
That is rough.
The elite mode on that one is actually it goes from the plank to just a hand grip.
Oh, even better.
Yeah.
Are there like retry lanes or like is it pretty crowded? I don't know how busy it gets.
Well, again, I jumped in that OCR very last minute. I signed up for the last available heat, and I was the only one that went off.
Oh, really?
So everybody else for the day.
Well, at least you won.
Had pretty much gone back. Yeah, I was definitely the best in my heat. I can say that. But it seems pretty spread out. Even with there was an ultra going on at the same time, so there was constantly people on the course. But I think that they did a good job of spreading out the obstacles, and they must have released everybody in a staggered pattern, I suppose, because there really wasn't any hold up. I think for one obstacle, I think it was like monkey bars that went into a carton net where I had to wait like a minute or two.
Okay.
And gibbons, and I didn't know this at the time, but if I had wanted to, I could have tried going into the elite lane if I wanted to, have a quicker try at the obstacle. But I just kind of stayed in my lane, and just waited my turn.
Yeah, I was going to ask that because our last episode, our first episode, we chatted about like the open heats, which I make him run with me after he runs age group with you. But yeah, like I'm always waiting in lines for monkey bars and stuff like that. So it's interesting that even some of the smaller stuff, you're still waiting on some of the obstacles.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely wasn't as bad as like a Spartan race. I know I've been in like an afternoon Spartan where you're 5-10 minutes waiting at like Twister, or something like that. So it wasn't that bad. But yeah, it's still there.
And at least you're able to run because in some of those Spartan open heats, you're walking behind people because they're walking and
they're skipping and singing.
It's a really narrow trail, right?
They're just having a good time,
right?
Hey, to each their own, I guess. So what's the most recent one you did? BoldrDash. That's the one that kind of caught my eye. That's also in Rhode Island?
That's also in Rhode Island. So, I'm in Providence, so I'm actually like right in the middle of these two races. BoldrDash is in Exeter, which is half hour south.
Okay.
So it's in southern Rhode Island. Another one that's been around for a while, but I think the last time I had heard about it, I had only heard of them doing kids races. I had no idea that they do adult OCRs. They actually do boot camps on the weekend on their course.
That's pretty sweet.
So if you want like obstacle practice, or if you just want to run the course for your own whatever, then you can.
So they keep the obstacles up like year round?
It's on a camp, so I think that once the summer comes around and they're actually going to have campers there, so I think it stops. I think the major obstacles will stay put, but they pretty much have use of the campground. It's Camp Canonicus, so they have use of it for now.
That's pretty sweet.
Now, is that looking at some of the pictures? Is that right by the water?
It's on a pond or a lake.
Okay, that's pretty cool. Is it also some trail too, like some open trail or?
Yeah, so this one the terrain was a little bit more challenging than Fit Challenge. There's definitely more elevation, more like you got to watch your footing and stuff. That wasn't as clean, I guess you could say, of a path as the other one.
Okay, and then I know we have discussed off air and on Instagram and stuff some of the more tough obstacles, were they all like really hard, or was it just that like one or two that kind of seemed to take a lot of bands?
I would say there was a good 3 or 4 that were really up there in difficulty. It was sort of misleading. The first handful of obstacles, I'm like, all right, I got this. We're climbing over walls, we're going through tires, we're going under a barbed wire. There's a turquoise. Like, all right, easy, I got this. And then right around, I think it was like mile 2 out of 5, all the races are in a line, and it's for the first rig and the first really upper body obstacle. It's called Kiss My Grips. Yeah, that was a band taker.
That was the one you talked about, right?
Yeah, so let's just say there was about 30 elite racers. 1 kept their band.
Wow,
that's insane.
Yeah,
that's wild. And that that was like a pegboard to like floating pegboard. Sorry, not even like an attached pegboard.
Floating pegboards.
Oh, that
How do you even get the pegboards in the holes?
Yeah.
Like usually they need some kind of back reinforcement, right?
So it was, the holes go all the way through. So I mean, you could really push the peg all the way through, and then it could go all the way to the side. And they weren't that long. I think each one maybe had 3 or 5 holes in it, and you had to be very strategic, apparently, which I was not.
Did you?
At one point, I had it.
Did you see anyone do this? Like finish it, complete it?
One guy.
But you didn't see him. You just know.
No, I did.
Oh, okay.
I did see him. What? I did see him. That's why I was like, I can do this. No, I can't.
Oh my.
Yeah, it's one of those obstacles where you really got to get it on your first or second try, because it gasses your arms fast.
I mean, you have to go bend elbows on that, right?
Pretty much. You want to do like a bicep lock, or bicep folds, which gets tiring. Right. Not only are you doing that, but as you take your peg out, you also have to have the accuracy to get it into the hole at the right angle so that it goes in.
Meanwhile, the other arm is hanging by itself at that point.
Yeah, and these damn boards are like, they're swinging and swaying. You're trying to get it to go still, and you're like, all right, I got to the second one, and then so there was 3 floating pegboards into a small pole, 2 gibbons, and then a long peg pole at the end, and that's all one rig, and then you can ring the bell.
Oh my god!
Except for the one racer that I saw finish it, I think the furthest anybody got was they got the peg into the 3rd pegboard, and that was it.
That's
so,
crazy.
are you supposed to use those pegs then on those gibbons?
Yep.
Like the peg is also the gibbons handle.
Yep.
That's wild. That's kind of cool. Yeah. I mean, look, it was really innovative. I was really impressed with the creativity in that, because most of the races like NORAM or Fit Challenge, it's just a straight gibbons, like 6 or 7 handles and just go to the end. Having that beat in the middle of this rig was genius but evil. I'm sure they were laughing as they watched it go. And I'm curious. I wonder if they'll. Because that was new, right? That was a new obstacle for them. I wonder if they'll change it.
Yeah, I believe it was the first time showing up in a race. I think it's been at their boot camps a couple weeks, but that was the first time at the race.
Yeah, I wonder if they'll switch it up to make it a little more doable.
Right.
I don't think so. I think I got to speak with the race director, Lynn, after that, and I think she likes the challenges. She likes making it hard. Yeah.
Because, we've talked about this. There are certain things you just can't train for. You know what I mean? Unless you build this in your backyard, how are you going to train for that?
Right. I mean, I don't have swinging pegboards.
Who would?
Just lying around.
Just do, get, a dartboard and do those 90-degree arm hangs. Grab a dart with one arm, try and throw it at the board. Just work on your one-arm accuracy / one-arm 90-degree. I'm just trying to think of anything. I have no idea. I mean, that's wild. So what was another tough one? I know you said there were a few.
Yeah, another one was it's called Twisted. So it's a rope ladder, However, at the top, the two ends are tied together, and they're what the name said. They're twisted. So you have to traverse to the top of the ladder and ring the bell. So much easier said than done, because you have to be on the top of the ladder. So if you're climbing it and it turns over on you, even if you're hanging on and you climb up the ladder upside down, that doesn't count. You have to be on. Yep, you have to be on top, and like your core and your knees can't be hugging the ladder.
That's insane.
So, right. So apparently the method to it was just like a slow, balanced bear crawl.
Okay.
That my 6-foot self could not comprehend. I'm like, I am too. You would think height would actually help you, but when I went through it, what I noticed that I mean, maybe I'm just not coordinated. I don't know. But a lot of the shorter people had an easier time with like managing their balance with their weight and getting to the top.
Yeah, you're in.
You probably could do it. I got on that ladder and within seconds I was flipped over.
Oh really?
My God.
Oh yeah.
So did you eventually get it, or did you just
no?
You eventually screw it.
No,
was this the first time you did BoldrDash?
Yes.
Okay, so you were like really figuring everything out for the first time.
Right, which I liked because 2019 I think my 40 plus races were literally all Spartan.
Yeah.
Which the only difficulty factor is pretty much the weather and how tired you are based on the distance and the terrain. But the obstacles themselves, no, they pretty much become autopilot.
Yeah.
Like, you know what to do. You know what to expect. Like, oh, okay, here's Bender, here's Twister. I know what to do. Let's get it done. These were ones that were really making you like, stop. All right, you gotta collect yourself and kind of figure a way out.
Yeah, it sounds like super humbling, if anything.
Very, because like I said, the first up until Kiss My Grip, I was killing the obstacles. I'm like, all right, I got this. Then I got humbled quick.
A little cocky.
Quick, and I'm like, all right, only one obstacle, not bad. Go through a few more, and then hit another one. I'm like, damn it, this race is kicking my ass.
Yeah, that's good training for Savage though, because we're doing that Savage Maryland in a few weeks, and that is, we talked about this, like you said, when you do Spartan races, it's like a little bit of autopilot. The only question mark may be, once you do enough of the obstacles is spear throw. You're like, even if you hit it a lot, you're still always like questioning yourself on spear throw. But like with Savage,
right.
You really gotta like work on your grip, work on your upper body strength and fatigue, like your arm strength and stuff like that. So this sounds like a great, like, especially early in the year like this. I mean, it's like a wake-up call for sure.
Yeah, definitely showed some weaknesses.
Did you think of any like new training methods or anything after these? Like, when you see new obstacles, you're like, that'd be a good idea to like do this in my training or something like that.
Yeah. So, especially with the pegboard scenario with Kiss My Grips, I've been doing a lot more like bicep holds in different angles to kind of help get those muscles going. Because apparently, I've got the strength, but I can lift something, I can push something, but it's holding your own weight for the upper body part of the obstacle. Like, all right, so you kind of let that slide over the past year.
That's the best part about racing. Like early in the year, especially, you're like, what did I ignore this off season?
Right.
And with COVID, I mean, when was our last obstacle race? Greek Peak of 20.
Probably Greek Peak, right?
2020. I think that was like one of the last Spartans, if not the last Spartan, before they like kind of shutting stuff down in 2020. So, like that first race back, you think your training is like point on. Or on point, I guess would probably be the right order.
Yeah.
And then, like, you do it, and you're like, nope, forgot about this.
Well, it's nice with Greek Peak being in March, like being our first race, because we know what we need to work on.
Right.
The next race we run is in for another, month or two?
Right. Yeah, next month.
Ugh.
And I mean, like, we ran a few, like 5Ks, and we were even a trail run or two.
Yeah.
And I'm like, all right, like I feel good about my running. And then once you like throw obstacles in
running
there,
felt great.
and then you throw those obstacles in there and you're like, shit, I forgot that my heart rate's elevated now and I'm doing all this other stuff in between. And like, it's just a totally different ballgame, OCR.
Definitely.
So, you said you're doing the Fit Challenge this week. That's the only one I saw on their events page. You said they usually do a couple more later in the year?
Yeah, it's the same brand, same race. It's not posted there yet, so I'm hoping that they do it. Because last year they had it in November. Now that I'm thinking about it, it might have been because they had to postpone the March one because that's when everything shut down. So I'm hoping that they do another one at the end of the year. It'd be nice to see the improvement from March to November.
That'd be cool. We'll definitely have to make the trip up for one of the two.
For sure.
I don't know which one. I don't know if I want to go. So which one's harder of the two, would you say? BoldrDash?
It's tough because BoldrDash, I ran it competitively. So I ran, I was going for time, going for replacement, trying to keep my band. That didn't work out. But I ran it as if, I was taking it seriously. Whereas the Fit Challenge one, it was last minute, ran open, hadn't done an OCR since Greek Peak. So I was kind of having fun. Let's just see how it turns out and go for it. So I think I'll have a better idea after this weekend. I will say after each race, BoldrDash, I felt the most beat up. Okay. and the most sort of like my arms were hurting for days. Usually you can't walk right after a race for a couple of days. This one I couldn't lift right for a couple of days.
Mentally and physically beat up.
Yeah, we'll have to Savage race, and then maybe you can kind of do like a Fit Challenge update for us and let us know how that one went. But I was gonna say, like, I don't know if I want to drive to Rhode Island just to fail a bunch of obstacles. So like, I gotta make sure that I'm actually ready for something.
It'll be fun,
right?
Worst comes to worst, you said you get a really good workout out of it.
Right? Do you at least? How about like we didn't even talk about this? How about like do they do like the medals and the shirt and like that whole thing?
Yep. So trying to remember them. Yeah,
well, both obviously Fit Challenge does a shirt because you're wearing it.
Got the shirt on.
Yeah.
BoldrDash we did. The trail racing for Fit Challenge there was no shirt. But all the events definitely had a medal. The OCRs you got a shirt as well.
Okay, cool. Because
some
people like the swag.
I feel like you posted them on Instagram,
right?
And they were like pretty sweet medals, actually.
Yeah.
The green one and the orange one. I love medals. I also love getting shirts.
That's just because we have that place to hang them.
Yeah.
The shirts, like my drawer is just all race shirts, basically.
Pretty much. That's all I wear now that I'm not in the office.
I'm like, I don't even have any like nice shirts. It's just race stuff.
Yeah, Fit Challenge looked like a Celtic.
Is that just because it was pretty close to St. Patrick's Day, right? The race.
Yeah, I don't think it was intentionally. I think that's just kind of it's that time every year. So. Okay.
Well, that's cool. We'll definitely have to do like a follow up on the OCR one. Did you? I don't know if you saw my text. Did you think of a workout that you wanted to share with our listeners?
I'm trying to think. Especially this past year. I haven't been to the gym, and I was kind of just in the process of getting my own gym set up when.
Oh, you should listen to our last episode. Then we talk all about home gyms.
Yeah, I need to get on that. So I don't really have too much. Just like I've only got like a couple dumbbells and stuff like that. So I've been doing a lot of body weight stuff, a lot of cardio. In addition to OCRs, I still do triathlons.
Cool.
So I do a lot of cardios. So my favorite workout, which definitely not going to be everyone's favorite workout, is kind of like a mini simulation between a sprint triathlon and a sprint OCR. The warm-up is like about a mile swim in the pool, which is maybe about 30 minutes of just doing laps back and forth. And then I will do a 2-mile run, kind of at a moderate pace, and then do 50 push-ups, 50 burpees, and then a mile run, race pace, and then cut it in half, 25 and 25.
Okay.
What's the hardest part of that workout? My guess would be the burpees, but
yeah, 50 burpees.
Listening to that. And then another 25 right after the race pace.
Right. Yeah, I was the first set of the burpees and the push-up. Kind of like the very first time I did it, it was 100 and 100. That was a bad idea.
You gotta tweak as you go, you know.
Yeah, live and learn. I was like, all right,
cut that shit in half.
Yeah, I'm like, that's a little too ambitious right now. Yes, the 50 is a good number. But believe it or not, when you go into the run right after that, your body feels pretty primed, and it's not as bad as it sounds.
Warmed up.
Yeah, 20 minutes.
Right.
Basically 0 unless you're really fast. So doing something like that is a great way to like keep your heart rate going. I mean, how long does it usually take you all together? Like an hour, roughly?
Trying to honestly, maybe about with the swim, probably about an hour.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So you're just going, and like get your body used to that like fatigue and still going. So I like that. It's a good one.
I know.
If we had a pool, I would try it. We don't have a pool, so
yeah. So how often do you go to? Is that just like a local gym you have?
So the pool near us is still open.
Okay.
By appointment only, so that's good. I've been able to keep up with that. So I'll hit the pool 3 times a week.
Okay.
And then, but I'll do that specific workout on the weekends, and as kind of like a cap off, and just kind of like wear myself out.
That's pretty sweet. I feel like that's new to me. Like I feel like because I only know you through like OCR, and that's how you like market yourself on Instagram. So to hear you swim 3 times a week is pretty sweet.
I mean, I love swimming. Like, we don't have a pool or anything to do it, but like...
He likes taking Epsom salt baths, he means.
Swimming in tacos, I think.
Right.
Is a common theme.
Yeah, that was my first thing, was competitive swimming.
Okay.
And then it was triathlons, and then my friend's like, "Oh, you like to race? Well, have you ever heard of Spartan? I think you would like that. It's an obstacle course race." I'm like, "Oh, you said race, so sure." I thought it was like your like gym class type of obstacle. That's what I was expecting. Something nice and easy. And it was the Boston Super. Actually, was the first one. After a torrential downpour, it was miserable. I think I failed like every other obstacle, but it was so much fun.
The Super, not even the sprint.
Yeah, I think I remember we did the Boston Sprint one year, and it was probably 28.
I felt like I was doing.
I don't know, but it was so muddy.
A Tough Mudder.
It was
like
so muddy,
covered in mud.
Muddiest race I've ever done.
Yeah, it literally. While we're driving in there to the parking lot, it just started torrential downpour. I'm like, what? What are we doing here? Like, what is this? Why are we choosing to do this? Like,
That's a good first race experience. I mean, you came back, so it wasn't that bad. But you know what? No. Okay, no, it was after that then. Maybe that just happens. I mean, when they're.
I mean, usually the Boston Super is usually in August, and it tends to rain on that one. So.
Yeah, I guess so.
Probably
because
the next year.
I just remember like Hercules had sat overnight in the rain. It was at the Super weight, and I'm not kidding. I was holding the rope. I had both feet. You're not supposed to do this. I had both feet on the rails, using all my body weight. And I mean, I'm not like a super heavy guy, but literally just trying to pull all my body weight. It didn't move more than 2 inches off the ground. I was like, I'm out.
And I remember like running up to you on the sideline because I was watching you, and I was like, just letting you know, nobody has completed this.
I'm like, all right,
so
burpees
I'm like,
it is.
like, keep going, you got this.
That was definitely the most burpees
but
I've done.
But I sat there
race,
for like
sure.
a good 20 minutes, like waiting for you, and every single person in front of you, like nobody could get this off the ground. It was nuts.
Yeah, that was wild.
And that was before I ran, so I was like, I'm not touching that.
Nope.
Seriously, I was like, burpees it is.
Well, hey, good luck with this weekend's race.
Thank you.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear about it.
You'll have to let us know how you did. If you want to see how Eric did, like Lindsay said earlier, his Instagram handle is Eric_Lau LAU. But again, Eric, thanks for joining us and talking some OCR. We'll definitely have to have you back on sometime. I know you're planning on coming down to do Savage with us in Maryland next month, so maybe as soon as that, and you can tell us how F.I.T Challenge Part 2 went.
Sure.
All right, well, thanks again for tuning in. Check out our other episodes. Subscribe. You can find us on probably all the major podcast places. And again, our Instagrams, we always forget to do this. Our Instagrams, mine is AdamG_OCR. Lindsay's is _wild _Lindsay. Everybody loves to use underscores, I guess. I don't know what it is.
____.
They don't allow spaces, so you got to use what you can. So thanks for listening, and we will see you for the next episode.
See ya.